there's less sequelitis and remakes than I thought. Slightly. But I think that more of the sequels in 2025 will shine, like Final Reckoning, like 28 Years Later. Yes, they're running off of the hype from their previous movies. They're going to be fine. It'll be okay. It's going to be fine. Right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why if you don't watch him, like, you can't be hurt by him, so.
That's why William never does his research.
No, it's called selective apathy. I just don't have to care.
You need carbs!
May thy knife chip and shatter.
There is beauty in imperfections.
You're great. I am.
And if you feel it, are you watching closely?
Isn't Josh joining?
No, he's working.
So it's just us.
You just get me. And
What if we all left and went to Toby's?
It's a drive for us.
I know.
We could record it at Toby's as he's going in and out of.
So, Josh, what do you think of this movie? Or we sit down and get food at one of his tables, and every time he comes by, we have to ask him a question.
That would be very funny. Okay, well, we have to start it off with a lot of energy that I definitely have, because this is our 100th episode. Crazy.
and then special effects. Sounds.
Special effects. Fireworks.
Or what's like the thing? It's like the or whatever.
Yep. Air horns everywhere.
To do the wild horn and the...
Hey. Yep. Wild scored a goal. It's been crazy. Part of it is like I haven't put that much effort into it, but I also have. It's been
He's being humble.
I know. It's been over 2 years. I started in December of
2022. Because I started college that year.
Yeah. Because I was at camp and needed better things to do than play video games. And I've been thinking about this for a while. And I got all sappy in the Discord when it was the 2-year anniversary. They're a little off now. But yeah, passion project. I've enjoyed most of it. Late nights, not as much, but that comes down to my time management. But regardless, we are celebrating with 2 different things that we're starting. Technically 3. The third one is the least important. So the third one's going to go first.
Okay.
The third one.
So the first one.
No, the third one was the new intro you just heard. I realized that it's been the same for 100 episodes and I'm changing it up. We're going to try and do, in the new year. This isn't really a 100th episode. It's just something that happens to align with the New Year's episode. And, we just did our...
Technically it's the 101st episode because you had an episode 0.
Well, and then we've had bonus episodes. Technically Barbenheimer was a bonus episode and didn't count. But yeah, the 100th numbered.
Official, the number 100.
Yes. And that happened to line up with New Year's Day, which is crazy, or New Year's week. And so with the New Year's, not necessarily with every section, like 50 episodes or whatever, I guess that's the 4th announcement. The Funny Moments episode, including this episode, will be coming out soon. I have to actually make it, so it's not going to come out next week or whatever, but eventually that will come out. I love doing those. Thinking back, 50 episodes is basically a year. Mm-hmm. And so thinking back on the year and the funny moments of that. The third announcement, which is now second, is
it's third.
No.
Because you did 3, 4.
No, the third. Okay, I didn't mention the third one. So the third one first is the new intro with 2024 movie quotes.
Right.
Which is just fun to find those and figure that out. The fourth one, which is second, is that the Funny Moments episode is coming out soon.
We got that.
The first announcement, which is now third, is what I've been wearing. That the keen viewers only, the listeners, have not been able to idealize and visualize what this is. But we have new merch. This is way better than the first drop that we had. The first one, I just threw some of our favorite quotes on there, threw the logo on the back. This is actually stuff that I designed. I'm wearing the OEFP University style hoodie, which comes in, I think all of the styles for the most part come in white, gray, black, and red, and variations of that. And then all of the designs come in a shirt, a t-shirt, and a hoodie. But the hoodies, some of them don't work because the back the front, because the front has a pocket. And so,
Got it.
you know, there's not enough space for the large design. So some of those are missing. But besides that, you can go get any of these designs that you see on screen. There's play on words for Nolan Bros. There's like Dutch Bros and Warner Bros and Super Nolan Bros. Those are really fun to do. Then there's also a glitch hoodie that you have,
Well,
or
the
glitch
shirt.
design. You have the long sleeve. The glitch design. There's the minimalist, and what's one more at least? There's a QR code. I know some people aren't keen on wearing a QR code, but it's just a massive QR code on the back. I'll probably get that one
What does
eventually.
it link to?
The YouTube channel, sorry. It just links to the YouTube channel.
It just rickrolls everyone.
But it's, you know, that curiosity thing.
Yeah.
I know that there's one more, and you can see it right here. That's that. The second announcement, that's now the fourth, is
Okay.
this is the celebration part. We've always had stickers available on our website. Also, the old designs are technically refreshed, and with the new font, like I have a consistent font throughout all of them. So the old ones you'll still be able to get. They're a little bit different. And also they ship fast. I got this shirt and my other shirt. So I got a t-shirt and the hoodie in like 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So they ship fast. The long sleeves take like 7 or 8 days to ship, but that's pretty fast considering they're made individually and from scratch. So you don't have to wait long for those. Back to the second announcement. We have always had stickers. We've always had stickers available, but it's like $1.15 to actually produce it, and then it's like $5 for shipping. So what we're gonna do to celebrate the 100th episode is that we're gonna have a document, I believe a Google Forms in the show notes below that you can click. You can order a sticker from me, and it's only gonna cost $2. So that's, you know, it's regularly $1.15 or so for an actual sticker, but you don't want to pay all that shipping for them to make one sticker and to have this all packaging from across the country, and then that's $6 for one sticker. You're like, what the heck? So for $2, you can contact me through the Google Forms below, order your sticker for only $2. You Venmo me, and then I'll send it to you personally, maybe with a handwritten note, because you can collect collectibles. I'm not that big. I'll write you a thank you note. So that's what you're going to be able to do, and there will be limited availability. Of course, I don't know exactly how many I'm going to do. Probably going to start with 25, and if those go quick, maybe I'll do another 25, and I'll let you guys know when that happens. So that's all the important information for celebrating 100 episodes, which, again, don't know how many more we're going to do. Life happens now, and you're a part of this, and we'll see. I'm satisfied. Like, getting to 100 episodes, saying to someone like, well, we have over 100 episodes you could listen to. That's really cool to say. And now we have, you know, I would think decent merch that is actually fun to wear. Like, I really didn't like the quotes that we had in the first drop, but they're classic now. They're the vintage, and now we have a little bit more effort. So go check those out. Check out those designs and get something you like. And they're pretty cheap. Like, I made these the cheapest possible. I'm getting zero money for it. I put 0% profit in all of the margins. This is you just paying for the shirt and shipping, and that's like $15 for a shirt. That's really good. I mean, obviously you can get cheaper shirts if you just need a shirt, but this is insane, and I really like it. I'm proud of it. I'm not making any money off you guys. I'm just enjoying getting to have this community, and you know, you get to tell somebody, oh yeah, this is a podcast I listen to. So there you go. That's in the show notes. Go check that out. Now we can start the episode.
Yay!
Woo!
2025.
2025. Thinking about how 2024 went, and obviously we did our Untitled Award ceremony last week. There was a lot of sequelitis. I believe the news that was going around was that the top 10 movies of the year by box office numbers were all sequels. I could double check that, but I think at the very least a majority of them are. And we were looking at this beforehand earlier today. There's less sequels, but there's still plenty of sequels, and we'll get to each of them in its own turn. There's obviously more movies that are releasing. There's some.
I'm just sad. That's all.
Okay. There's some I think we talked about Saw 11 in the 2024 predictions episode, and then it didn't come out. And again, we don't really care about that. So I didn't even put it on here, even if it's been delayed to 2025. I don't care about Saw. So we're not going to talk about it. These are ones that I think at least have a sentence to talk about. So we'll go through them. Will, what do you think? I know you don't usually watch a ton of movies in a year. First off, sorry for skipping you and not working something out so you could be a part of the awards.
That's fine. I
show.
totally forgot that. Like I I probably should have put it down. I just totally flipped my mind.
What movies did you see last year?
I think relatively speaking, this is probably one of the years where I've watched the most movies or more movies than I usually ever do. Because I've actually been to the theater like at least 2 times. I think more than that. I watched Gladiator 2 and I've watched Red 1, and I think I've watched something else in the spring with somebody for something.
Okay. So you watched Red 1.
And I watched Gladiator 2 most recently. And I think I know I watched something. I probably, actually, maybe like 4 times or so. I don't know.
Did you watch Wicked?
No.
Okay.
I didn't really care for it. I don't care.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I actually have like seen movies more than I have. Partly because I was in college and like it's a thing you do with your friends. And also because I got back and I was like, hey, I have some money and I got cousins here. I can do something with them.
And you also, I know you watch movies after they come out, out of theaters. I know that. Like, you don't have to see them in theaters if they came out in 2024.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, actually, that's the other thing too. Because I've been flying, actually, surprisingly, a good amount this year. I watched, for example, ISS, the International Space Station.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that one on a plane, and I watched a couple of the other ones on a plane too, because they have like those flight ones where you can do that. So I've seen a couple of the more recent ones. Yeah. So I think like everyone you guys talked about, like the big one I haven't really seen was Twisters, and probably Venom, and a couple of the other smaller ones I didn't really care for. Actually, we did just watch Carry On, and by the way, Warren doesn't like it, and I think it's kind of dumb at the end. It just like starts spiraling out of control, but it's fine. It is okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can't believe you haven't seen Twisters. OEFP movie night. It's coming. I swear.
Better.
Actually, no. The OEFP movie night.
You guys keep referencing it. Something about like something about like guy with sweatshirt is a lot thing is really referenced a lot too. And I know it's about like chasing the storm. Wow.
Powell. Yeah.
Like, okay, great. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. I just haven't seen it.
It is good.
It's good.
It's the only movie I watched twice in theaters, probably ever, but definitely this year. But
My first one since Endgame. I did see that one twice.
That's actually impressive. I did not see Endgame twice in theaters, so yeah. I know I'm a lame Marvel nerd. Anyways, we're gonna kick it off in 2025. Movies. Looking ahead, it's not looking good for January. I haven't put the months, but the first one that I took note of in the list of movies being released, or at least expected. Again, there's going to be a bunch of movies that we don't see coming out that are probably going to be really good, and there will be a couple surprises, and I can't wait to find those at the end of the year. But the first movie that caught my eye is in February, and it's Love Hurts, and that's with, I need to know his name.
That one guy.
Ke Huy Quan.
Juan?
Ke Huy Quan.
Juan?
Cena.
He's been very popular. He was in Loki. He was back in Indiana Jones. He was the kid from the second movie. And he's just kind of had a resurgence in popularity. He's very fun and lighthearted, and Love Hurts is the perfect movie for him. He's the accountant or realtor. He's a realtor who is a former spy, and he's just trying to live his life of peace. And his evil brother or something is coming after him, and he's like, I don't want any. I don't want to hurt anybody. So it looks like a funny comedy action movie. He's like punching bad guys and then throwing a pillow under their head. He's like, I'm so sorry. So I think that's going to be really fun and enjoyable. I don't want that to be like the first good movie of the year. There's nothing in January. It's just kind of lame. They threw a bunch of movies at us here at the end of the year of 2024.
That's common. Everyone has a Christmas movie.
It's true. Yeah. And you see the biggest movies in the summer, where you can bring your family and you don't have to wait for a weekend or whatever. And then also at Christmas when you can also bring your family. It's the families that get you, like all the family movies for 2024. They got up there with numbers because you're bringing 4 or 5 people instead of 1 or 2 to go see a movie for family movies, and that's just how it is. So yeah, I think that Love Hurts is kind of the Valentine's Day type of movie.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that one. Well, have you seen that trailer?
No. This is the first time I've heard of it.
Movie, not quite.
There's a couple of these from me like, oh yeah, I know this one. I'm excited for this one. But there's honestly, I don't know. I haven't paid too much attention for the next year for what's coming up.
I said it's not quite Argyle stupid, but it looks like another stupid fun kind of action.
Well, that's why I kind of it's like it's the spy comedy where it's like the spy who doesn't want to be a spy, but he kind of is. Actually, it's like the what's the funny fat guy who's the electrician? The mall cop guy. I just watched a movie with him.
Mall cop? Paul Blart?
Yeah, Paul Blart. Like
Okay.
there's a Memoirs of an International Assassin. We just watched that with my family. It's kind of like that where it's like, and that one was actually not too bad. But like in that one, like he's a writer who's like thought to be an actual assassin, and he's abducted, and he gets into all sorts of crazy adventures.
If you had seen Argyle, you would probably say the same thing. And Argyle won our most stupid fun movie of 2024 in our previous episode. And yeah, I this has similar vibes where, you know, they don't know they're a spy or they don't want to be a spy, and yet they are. And then that's the premise of all the action. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, next up, Captain America: Brave New World. This is truly the return to the MCU. I get that Deadpool and Wolverine was technically in the MCU.
But it was rated R and I didn't see it.
It was rated R. It didn't really progress the story anymore. It was the Marvels was the previous MCU movie, true MCU movie.
Oh,
and that was in fall 23, and that was not a good installment. Brave New World, I've heard, has had bad test screenings.
Well, that's the thing that they said about it, is that they basically had to like reshoot most of the movie, or had to like heavily edit and almost redo large portions of it because of bad test screening. Again, I don't know what it looked like before, and I'm not sure what it's going to look like now. What they seem to be pointing to is like Thaddeus Ross, who is also the president, who's also the Red Hulk, and something evil, something government, something. You're not Captain America, but I am Captain America, and it sounds like it's going to be like kind of like Captain America, a Winter Soldier, where it's like a little bit of like government intrigue and spying and like surveillance and something. I don't know. I think the idea and the premise is not bad necessarily, like with most things, but I also don't really have a lot of faith that they're going to execute it well. I mean, in my opinion, best case scenario, it's like going to be an okay film. Worst case scenario, it's going to be like really cringe, and it's going to have a lot of political commentary that's not going to be very good. But I don't know, maybe it'll be fine, or maybe it'll just blow my socks off and actually be really, really good. But I'm kind of holding my breath for that because you don't have Steve Rogers as Captain America, and there's already been controversy about that. And and from what I know about the Captain America, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show, there's mixed reviews on that, and that some people don't really like it either.
I want it to be good. I have hope for it. But I guess we'll see. That's kind of where I'm at with Marvel. Is just we'll see. It might be good. I mean, they still have put out a good movie in the last 2 years.
What was that?
Guardians. Yeah.
So there's potential, but it's just I'm hopeful, but I'm cautiously optimistic. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, and this not to pat myself on the back, but this is the main reason why, like, again, I watched Endgame and I was like, okay, that's it. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Whatever's going to happen, I don't care. Yeah. Non-canon to me. It's ended. Yep. I'm good. I'm fine.
I think we're going to start treating Marvel a lot like we've started treating Star Wars, where the sequels just kind of, they're over there. Like, we can be done. Just be done.
Stop.
We'll get to Thunderbolts in a second, but Brave New World is probably not going to get as political as Falcon and Winter Soldier. That was all about, how do you carry the stars and stripes as a black man? And that
literally don't remember a thing about that show.
That, like I said, I think when we talked about it with Zach, I talked about it with Zach in the MCU TV shows episode. It was like, I don't mind that that's what he thinks, but then it turned into the story of the show, right, and not just what Bradley believed. And I don't see that in Brave New World. I see it as political conversation of like, what do we do about Tiamat, which is like the first tie-in between movies. It's crazy that we're halfway through phase 5 out of, 6 years. We started phase 5 with Quantumania.
Oh. That's
and
a nice start.
Tiamat came out of the ocean in Eternals back in Phase 4, and it's just like there's nothing that's truly connected. And Brave New World is going to start doing that. I believe the Red Hulk. We don't know how Thaddeus Ross gets the Red Hulk serum, but that's always been connected to the super soldiers and gamma radiation, and that's part of the charm of the MCU is that's been a driving force was the super soldier serum. I'm sure that'll play a part. Tiamat. What do we do about Tiamat? And then there's still some ongoing conversations from Captain America: Civil War about do they have the authority to just go and do this? And that's why in the trailer he said, I don't really like you, but we have to work together and blah, blah, blah. So I think that can be interesting. I still think that it's going to fall prey to just another Marvel movie that, I think of Falcon having the nanotech helmet. Like that's boring. That's exactly what we've seen from every other movie like Quantumania. It's just the same boring thing. And I'm more looking forward to Thunderbolts than Brave New World. I don't know how it's going to turn out. It'd probably be similar to, I don't know, Doctor Strange, where it's cool, but you could probably skip it. After that, we have Snow White.
That's going to be such a fascinating case study. Okay, here's the thing. I can be very clinical with some of these movies. Like, okay, like if you just detach yourself from like actually caring about them, okay? I think it's going to be so fascinating, both from a historical and an anthropological level, to just like analyze like what is the reason this movie was made, what is like this film, like what is it presenting, what's it's trying to say, what's the context for its emergence, what is the reaction to it, and why is that reaction the way that it is. And I think it's to me it's a fascinating film. Probably not going to be a good one. I think because of all the heavy re-edits, it's just going to be more like a CGI schlop. And like maybe won't be the worst thing ever, but I don't think it's going to be good. But I'll probably just say it's like, it exists. But I think it's just more fascinating to examine the controversies about it, around it, and like its development, and then its actual production, and then when it finally comes out, just to see what exactly they decided to go for with this film. That's what's more interesting to me.
The movies that don't actually have a lot to go off of for the movie part of it, and instead the behind the scenes stuff, that's not fun. Like I wish the movies could stand alone, and yet all of the creation of it and the drama has to come with it. And
I would say just get off the internet.
Yeah,
it's kind of your best bet.
It's similar to The Flash, where it's like it was a bad movie with a bad story behind it, and so you just kind of got to bite the bullet, give your opinion on the bad movie, and move on. I'm curious though. Daily Wire announced that they were making their version of Snow White, and there has been no news of that. It was meant to combat the Disney live action Snow White, so we'll see if that actually happens.
Well, Brett left Daily Wire.
She can still act for them.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it might be harder to get her.
Yeah, but
we also don't know how much they actually shot for that. So, like, if they make a good film, great.
Lots of drama. We'll probably. We have an episode on live action remakes coming up, and I might just reschedule it for after Snow White comes out so that we can be like, okay, this is really the epitome of live action remakes. Lion King played into that, and this was like they were going to go with live action dwarves that weren't dwarves, and then they could have gone with dwarves, but then they didn't. They made them CG, and AI. It looked like if you gave ChatGPT a picture of Doc the dwarf and said, hey, make this live action, and it just put realistic textures on it and gave him skin, gave him hair instead of just flat 2D, and that's all that they look like. It's really, really bad, and that's unfortunate for the Little People Guild, the people who those actors who want to be in movies
actually get roles. That's their job.
Yeah,
we like to refer to ourselves as Elves Incorporated. I'll have you know.
There's some that I've heard Dinklage and a couple other people who are in the acting business. They're like, we want some roles that are they're made for us. Yeah. Give us those roles, and they won't. So I don't know.
I have so much to say about this movie, but it's all already been said by various people, and it's all over the internet. So all I'm going to say is just based on the actual interviews that I've seen about the movie and how the plot's going to go, it's not Snow White. Like, they're changing the story completely. Yeah. She doesn't get saved. She becomes this boss lady and takes her kingdom back or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's a cool story. That's awesome. Way to girl boss, whatever. That is not Snow White. That is not the same story. It's a different story.
Yeah.
And they can make a different story. That I love unique, original stories. It doesn't have to be Snow White. And I think they could have made a great movie. Maybe like a spin-off of Snow White, but calling it Snow White is just not true. That is not the story that the Grimm brothers wrote. That is not the story that Disney adapted. This is completely different.
Yeah.
Preach. Yes, queen. Preach.
Regardless of live action or not, there's something to be said about remakes just generally. And I think Zach has brought this up in the past, is like, is there a place for readaptations, changing the story a little bit for the times, or I don't know. It's frustrating that it has to change, that if you're going to remake it, you're not just slapping better textures and real people into it. You're actually changing it. Mm-hmm. And this isn't like I've argued with The Last of Us, where they made the games or some backlash to the story, and so they maybe fixed it in the TV show. This was one of the first Disney movies ever made, and it's been 80 to 100 years since then. And it's not like, oh, we should have changed this. No, they're like, oh, this strong man comes and saves the beautiful woman, and is like,
can't have that.
Can't have that.
That's not PC.
I'm not going to watch it, and I'll probably just listen to the back and say, oh, okay.
I want to watch it just so we have something to talk about.
More content.
I just don't really care. I just
more of like, you know how you watch a car crash just to see what happens? Like, that's kind of.
Do you ever shoot something in the face and just watch how it dies?
Yeah.
That's kind of the level of interest I have in this movie.
Yep. Stay tuned for our episode on
live action.
Live action, spurned off of that, but that'll come soon. A Minecraft movie.
Okay. I've been really curious what they've been going to do for the Minecraft movie, because I've kind of been waiting forever, because people have been waiting like forever for the Minecraft movie to come out, because it's been in development for so long and moved along for different people. And it's not. I'll give two things. I'll give it like a brief prediction. I think it's going to do fine. I don't know if I think because of just like Jack Black and whatever, like there's going to be enough hype that people are going to go watch it, but I don't think it's going to be. So I think it's going to get eyes on it, but I don't really think it's going to be that good of a film. Again, there's always the possibility, but the biggest thing is like just like why, if you're going to do live action, why did you do so much CG? Like it's so weird, because you have like clearly live action people and everything else is CGI. Like I think one of my favorite comments from the trailer was is like, to the director, like how much CGI do you want to use? Yes, like it's true, because there's like so much CGI, which is why I'm like, okay, and the CGI itself is kind of bad in a lot of places. Like it's not all terrible. I think like if they were to do fully CGI in that and maybe clean it up a bit, it wouldn't be so bad. But the other thing too that I've been impressed with is that how much the Minecraft animation community has produced about the trailer that are so much better. All of them like are almost so much better quality. And recently my brother and I, we were just kind of like rewatching all of the Minecraft parody videos, animation videos from like when I was in school. So did you ever watch those?
No, but I'm very familiar with
Villager news.
You're missing out, man. Really missing out.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Entertainment.
But like those ones though, like the thing is though, I've rewatched those, and those animation, like those are really good animation actually. And that's I'm like, and like even like Minecraft story modes. So, and I've said this on my Discord, and people have said it all over, so it's kind of rehashing it. But really, like if you're going to do the Minecraft movie, I think they should have just done it in some sort of CGI form. That would have been easier, and I think you could have just yeah. This is just about how it's presented though. As for the story itself, again, like anything can possibly be saved if you have a good enough story. I kind of doubt they're going to do that. I think it's going to be a bit more like the Super Mario Bros, which was okay. It was fine. It was good. It was good. But again, the Super Mario Bros did it better, where it was all CGI, and they actually did it, incorporated it well. This is just Uncanny Valley, and it just looks kind of weird. And I don't know what they're going for with like Steve being stuck in there and people transported to this other. I don't know why you're trying to incorporate real life into it. That's the biggest flaw, I think. So I think I'm I'm kind of disappointed with what they're doing with it, and I think they could have done better. But we'll see how it goes. But I'm kind of, I have low expectations for this film.
Here's the thing: they can still do the whole premise of like getting sucked into Minecraft and like Jumanji style, while still making it turn into a Minecraft Steve character. Like it doesn't have to stay Jack Black; it'd be Jack Black voicing a Minecraft character.
Yeah.
So that you actually, because like the whole point of Minecraft is like you're stuck into a world that's made of blocks, but it still feels real when you're playing because it becomes the world that you're playing in.
Yeah.
And you don't want to dial that back and try to turn it into our world. It looks weird. It's not Minecraft. It's just fuzzy. It's so fuzzy.
When you get into the zombies and stuff, technically those are, they're wearing the same clothes as the default character named Steve is wearing, and so it's like the zombies don't look like Jack Black, so then it messes with the lore, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Unless there's going to be some twist that Steve isn't actually Steve. But also the village, all of the mobs look, high definition versions of their blocky characters. Like the villagers don't make sense when it's a style. I don't think the hybridization works, and it's too late. We're gonna get what we get, and I doubt that the story is gonna save anything.
Yeah, I think they should really, if they wanted to, they should have just kept it a bit more simple. You could do something with like 2 adventurers, Steve and Alex. Maybe their precious whatever fill in the blank is stolen, and they have to learn to survive, and then they have to face the Ender Dragon. Like there you go. Like it's like Minecraft in and of itself is like pretty simple. Like there's so much you could just pretty easily tell, just going to slay a dragon, for example, and going to the end and adventures and all that. But
I think the climax of the movie will be the Ender Dragon. That's probably going to be looking really cool. I think that most of what we've seen in the trailers is the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Probably.
So I hope that there is a lot greater visuals awaiting us in the Nether. Well, we've seen the Nether in a couple shots. In the end, the dragon is just going to be the final boss. I don't know. Maybe it's actually going to be Herobrine. That would be really funny.
That would be great, because technically Herobrine is not controlled by anyone.
I'm excited to see it. I don't think it's going to be good.
You could have been the hero, Brian.
I love saying that again. Cinema.
This world is mine to craft. He said the thing.
It does seem like that type of movie. So, some of these lower ones we're going to keep moving through quickly. Mickey 17. It seems like a fun premise. I believe Mickey, played by Robert Pattinson, is a character who is a dummy, as in he has clones made of himself, and then whenever he fails, he's disposed of. And somehow they don't dispose of one of the bodies, and so then Mickey meets himself, and it's one of those, kind of it's not Freaky Friday, Parent Trap, where you have 2 of the same person, quote unquote, and
Twins.
But with that one, it's actual twins.
Yeah.
Mickey is like himself, and he knows his purpose, but he also knows that he's going to be brought back to life with his clone. So I think it's
like Sam. Sam 24.
Give a warm dog welcome to Sam 15.
I saw the trailer for that. It actually looks. I think that seems like an interesting concept. Nice little sci-fi film. Hope it does well. Looks interesting.
I think this could win for a best original movie. Like I'm enjoying the trailer. I don't think it's based off of anything. Could make waves. And Robert Pattinson has been on a roll recently. I don't think he's ever not been on a roll. Yeah. Anyways. Thunderbolts asterisk.
I actually thought that was an asterisk you put in there for something, and I was like, oh, that's actually the name of the movie.
It has an asterisk in its
title.
Typed title. This isn't a style of their poster. It's probably just going to be something dumb like, oh, we're not actually the Thunderbolts, we're the Dark Avengers. And that's really lame. People have been theorizing what it is. Some people say it's a bullet, but why would you type it if it's a bullet? Or maybe it's just a cool way. Like, yeah, a bullet hitting something and it looks like an asterisk, so then you can type it. I don't know. But that's what I'm actually excited for. It looks like the characters have good chemistry. I think Taskmaster is going to die right away because she's like in one opening scene and then not in any other scene. I can't wait to see Bucky back. John Walker, Yelena, they all look like they're going to have fun. I don't think we really know who the bad guy is, but they're also all bad guys technically, but Bucky's not. It's an interesting dynamic,
But he can be.
And I think that this is also going to keep moving forward with the MCU. The problem is that there's not a lot of movies between now and Doomsday, and that's interesting because I don't know if Thunderbolts is going to do anything. And these next couple of years are going to be interesting for Marvel, and we have a whole episode on that. But I think Thunderbolts will be a good standalone yet team up movie.
I saw the trailer for it, and I'm probably going to say what everyone else has kind of said for it. Like, it looks better than Brave New World. Seems interesting. The thing for me is I haven't watched any of the TV shows, so I kind of know like the thing about John Walker and Bucky and the thing for Taskmaster and all that sort of stuff, but I'm also a little bit behind, so I don't really fully know. But I just know it's kind of like the anti-hero / edgy hero type of a team up. I think you could do something similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like a whole bunch of like clashing personalities and different people coming together and they're doing something and fighting some bad guys. And okay, that can work. I think it's a fine concept, and I think if you have a good story, it can work really well.
You do make a good point that anyone who hasn't seen the shows is going to be very lost because there's a lot of these characters that have been set up with that.
Yeah, like the one because I watched Wakanda, the second Wakanda film, and there's that one lady who's kind of become boring. She's like the black haired lady who's kind of like the spy person.
I know who you're talking about. I forgot her name.
She's at the end of like a Black Widow, and I don't know who she is, but I know that she's important. I don't know how. But like, there's just like things like that.
Yeah. Well, she's the one who brings them all together. And yeah, I forgot her name, but she bought Avengers Tower. Like, that building that they group up in is Avengers Tower, which is going to be interesting. Again, world building. They haven't been doing that. Let's get more of that. And also, Thaddeus Ross has been known to have been in the Thunderbolts in comics, and so I wonder if he's going to show up after Brave New World in this movie. That would make a lot of sense. All right, Lilo and Stitch.
You skip Mission.
No, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Part 2 to the Dead Reckoning. No, just Dead Reckoning. At least the teaser trailer doesn't have anything massive. They have a lot riding on it with behind the scenes stuff. Like, they know all of this stuff is stuff that Tom Cruise does by himself. So there's like an underwater submarine that's filling with water, and you know that he actually did that, or like he's standing on a biplane wing. That's cool, but it seems like a step down from cliff jumping like they did in the last one. And if this is the Final Reckoning, I don't see any crazy action shot.
Although that was the coolest action shot in the movie, and they put it in the trailer.
They used it so much.
Maybe there's one that's going to surprise us.
That would be amazing.
That would I think it would probably be likely, because I remember, Seth, you can kind of complaining about that. So
it wasn't cool anymore once the movie actually came out, and I was like, yeah,
we've seen it like 12 times. So.
Even if it was on a really big screen, it's still I've seen it in trailers on the same big screen.
Yeah, right.
I haven't watched the other Mission Impossible films, but I know, like, I mean, you know the point behind them. But that might be like one film that I actually would watch in theaters with some other people if I was going to do that. And I think, because that's just supposed to be the end, and I think that it'll be good. I think that might be, depending on how good and the marketing and how good the film is, that could be another really high budget movie for 2025. I think that's probably going to be one of the big blockbusters for that year.
Yeah, we're getting into the summer now with these movies. The summer ones actually look fire. I'm excited for next summer.
I think this one's going to be Tom Cruise doing Tom Cruise stuff.
Yep, and
very Mission Impossible-y.
There's going to be deaths.
There's going to be people dying, and hopefully he can take a step back after this, because that man's getting old and he's going to hurt himself.
Yep.
Well, I think this is that would also be like a good way to kind of not end his career, but like signal like a different point in his career, and also just to end this franchise. And well, it would also be just good to like end the franchise. Like, I mean, I don't follow the franchise, but I think this could be a really good way to at least end that franchise, and give people like a satisfying conclusion until they start doing their spin-offs with who knows whoever. But
they are making a third Top Gun that has been in the works, but this could be the end of Mission Impossible, which would be fine. And I think that maybe there's room for a reboot. And you know, it's been going for 25 years. That's
based on how long it was between the first Top Gun and the second. Is the next one going to be when he's like literally elderly? He's just
the exponential graph of that. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, the next two are actually funny because I realize that they're similar in spelling. Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Elio. Both Disney in different ways. Elio is Disney Pixar and Lilo is Disney. Lilo and Stitch.
Disney live action.
People have been loving the Stitch design of live action, but again, it's the same design with fur. because he's an alien, right?
Yeah.
Because he's an alien.
We need to watch that movie.
I have never watched it.
Oh my gosh.
I have watched it once, and I just it's I don't care. Like it's
Because he's an alien, he can easily transfer into live action. Whereas when you have stuff that we know what they look like, the animators need to nail that, like what a lion looks like. We know what it looks like, and so they can't be acting the exact same as it did in the cartoons because there's a disconnect of yeah, this is fake, this is cartoonish, but when you make it look real, you have to bridge that gap. But because his design is alien, literally, it doesn't need that. It just slaps some fur on it. Now we don't know what the human characters look like. We've just been focusing on Stitch for the trailers, but I have nothing to say about the story. What's that?
Is it just a teaser at this point?
Pretty much, a couple of teasers.
Okay.
It'll be interesting because this is coming after Snow White, and yet people have been really hating on Snow White and really loving the Stitch design. So we'll see how that goes. It's crazy that they have 2 in 1 year, and I don't know what they're running out of things. Like eventually they will hit a point. They hit a point back with like Aladdin and such. Cinderella a little bit. Cinderella was kind of a test, but like Aladdin and those movies were like, we're just getting started, and they stopped making a lot of original stuff as much, and soon they're going to hit their point of like, we have nothing more to remake. So
No, they're making new cartoons. Pixar.
I don't think any of the Pixar movies have been adapted.
I hope they don't get adapted.
Yeah. They're technically separate.
Imagine a live action Inside Out.
No.
I don't want to. Thank you.
No thanks. Elio, you watched the trailer this morning?
It looks so cute.
It looks cute.
What's
It's
Elio?
Elio is a kid who communicates with aliens, and they accidentally abduct him, and he pretends to be the leader of Earth.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
For Pixar, they could actually come out on top.
Yeah.
Probably going to be a number 3 or
For
higher
sure,
movie
'cause
for the year because it's a kids movie.
And it's Pixar, so parents will want to go too, and like it'll be a whole thing.
Yep. But I think one of the standout movies for next year will be How to Train Your Dragon live action.
I might be a little maybe not contrarian, but I don't think they should have done a live action for it. I think
I agree.
I think it's gonna be. I think it'll be okay. I think it, but it's not gonna hit the same as the animated version. And I think it's gonna. To me, it seems a bit uncanny valley. Maybe not to other people, but then again, I'm not super attached to the How to Train Your Dragon movie franchise. I mean, I like them. I think they're good. I really like them, but I'm not super attached to them. But I just I don't really see the need for a live action one. But then again, I think that'll probably be another blockbuster as long as they don't really screw it up, which I don't think they would.
They shouldn't have. They are. We accept it. I think that's kind of the feeling. We could have left those 3 animated movies as is. They did take the step. People are loving the designs of it. The music is different. The look of it is different. And yet it's reminiscent of the original. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see it. Unless something comes out in the trailer that's really dumb. This is riding the hype train the whole way. So
I think it looks good. It looks fun. It's going to bring out the feels. I think they could have done better with the casting, making them actually Scandinavian.
It's fantasy. I'm playing devil's advocate. I agree with you.
But yes,
it's fantasy.
That's true. They can cast whoever they want. They're the ones deciding to make a live action remake they never needed to make. They should not jump on the Disney train and do that with a bunch of their movies because honestly, this is one that I think it'll lose some of its charm.
Yeah. And DreamWorks is borderline, can you really adapt those movies?
No. I mean, they're such beautiful animated movies. I love DreamWorks. Yeah. Just no. And if they make a live action Shrek, I'm just it's not happening. The musical is creepy enough.
Yeah. 28 Years Later is actually the 3rd installment in, I don't know what it's
28.
called.
So it's 28 days, then it was 28 weeks, now it's 28 years. That one I'm actually kind of intrigued for because it kind of started the scientific accurate zombie franchise sort of or not franchise genre of types where it's like they're not actual zombies, they just are suddenly hit with the crazies and they decide to eat people. So like my relatives in Thanksgiving, but
so like a Last of Us kind of thing.
Similar, but The Last of Us
is fungus.
And the people are technically still alive, which was the
right.
worst part.
Well, that's what I thought this was.
Okay,
It's a disease.
I wouldn't know.
It's more like they revert to monkey and try to kill people.
I know that 28 Days is a highly praised movie. 28 Weeks, I think they said, fell flat, but 28 Years is looking really good. It has Aaron Taylor Johnson in it. Apparently, Cillian Murphy reprising his role because he was the main character of the first movie. I'm keen on watching the previous ones just to see this one. You don't
Is it a horror movie?
Yeah, well, it's got zombies, so it's kind of horrific. I don't think it. I mean, it's more like the fact like the 28 Days Later specifically is about like some guy who's kind of like The Walking Dead, where he wakes up and like it's been 28 days after the infection started, so he's trying to figure out what's going on here. And
would you consider it more of a thriller?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of the thing where it's like, oh, the zombies are terrible, but also humanity is terrible as well because the government and whatever. And it's like, how do you deal with like an infection and what's the result and all that sort of thing. So I think this one actually is, I don't necessarily like super gory zombie stuff per se, but I'm always interested in how these films try to portray a world that's dealing with a zombie infection. Like, how do you actually deal with that? And so I think that is interesting to me, is how are they going to portray this a world that's after 28 years of an infection that caused people to go crazy. Like, what does the world look like? What is this? How are people surviving? What's communities? How have people responded to this and things like that? So that's, to me, is what was more interesting. So I think it's going to be kind of have horrific elements, but still be kind of a thriller, but also be maybe emotional as well.
The trailer reminds me a lot of Quiet Place Part 2, which was they had the community off on the island and they're trying to survive, and then something happens because that's literally what happens in the trailer. They're doing school, the parents rush in and say stay here, and then there's chaos, and then there's survival looks pretty rugged. Again, I've heard of 28 Days praise. I want to see it so that I can see 28 Years Later. F1 with Brad Pitt. People have been hyping it up because F1 is cool. Brad Pitt, didn't he do Ford versus Ferrari? Or is that?
Yes. No, it was,
that was
Patrick Bateman. Or not Patrick, sorry, I'm thinking of the character.
Matt Damon and Christian Bale was Ford versus
there we go.
Ferrari.
That's who it was.
I still feel like Brad Pitt was in a different racing movie. Anyways, the racing movies have become very popular recently. There was the Gran Turismo one, and yeah, car goes zoom zoom fast. Mm-hmm. And people really like F1. I feel like I would like F1 if the sport, if I actually had a way to watch it. And so I remember that there was a teaser dropped, and I thought, and I really liked it. That's all I got to say. I'm excited because I'm a guy.
Yep.
And you're not because you're a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Stereotypes.
I don't care for racing, so I'm like, okay.
I'll play into that stereotype.
Yep.
That is just me personally. That is not all women. I will say that. But also, zoom cars go fast does not interest me.
Sorry. Jurassic World Rebirth.
They're doing more?
The 7th movie, apparently.
When was this announced?
I don't know. I just saw it on the list.
Someone just kill all the dinosaurs and be done with it.
Nuke them all. Jordan and I actually watched The Dominion, I think, was the 3rd of the new trilogy, so the 6th total, and it just had no heart.
Yeah, it was weird. Well, this is kind of my gripe with Marvel. Actually, this is kind of my gripe with Hollywood in general. Is they never do interesting geopolitical stuff. Like and what I mean by that is like they have interesting concepts, but then the real world logic is never applied to them. For example, if you take the idea that like giant dinosaurs are genetically brought back, that is a fascinating idea. What are the consequences of this? Can like if you can like create a dinosaur, like genetically modify a super weapon, that is a fascinating idea for so many subplots you could do. And then they just say, oh, somehow a bunch of dinosaurs are let loose, like 20 of them in the second film of the sequel trilogy, and then suddenly they're everywhere. How does that happen? How does that work? What is going on here? And then just suddenly the dinosaurs are existent. Like there's no government response. That is kind of ludicrous, in my opinion. Then there's also this lady who is the cause for it, and nobody tries to track her down and kill her. And, or what really killed me is like that there's dinosaurs that you're trying to rope. Like when in the 3rd one, like when he's chasing them down on a horse and he tries to rope them, I'm like, buddy, that's like 400, 500, 600 times bigger, or 600 pounds. You're not going to be able to do anything with your horse. And it's just, the real world logic just like went out of the way, and like they didn't even address what I thought was interesting in the Dominion, when you could say, okay, how do you actually deal with a world that has returned dinosaurs, even if it's crazy how that happened? And so that's what I mean when I'm saying like they never do anything actually interesting. They just say the hand wave. It happened. Who cares? Move on. Eat slop. There. Enjoy film.
The setup for at the end of the fifth one into the sixth one was abysmal. The fifth one ended with like a T-Rex roaring over Paris or something, and then the sixth one was garbage. I don't know what this next one's going to be about. Maybe we'll see it. I think Jurassic World could have been one where you have Jurassic Park 1, you have a remake of Jurassic World. Probably could be done with that. Like Jurassic World wasn't even that great.
I'm even going to go back. Jurassic Park came out in the 1900s.
Hey now, 1900s.
It came out in the 90s.
Yeah. Just let it die. Let it die, please. Stop bringing it back like the dinos. Let them die. It's in the past.
The dinos and the movies need to stop being realized. I can't words.
Anyway, it was an excellent standalone movie, and that was all it needed to be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, if you want to remake it, you can remake it. I cannot believe there are going to be 7?
Yep.
That's unreal to me. I didn't even know there were more than 2.
Yep. It's crazy. And it's just all about dinosaurs eating people.
Mm-hmm.
Or not eating people. I don't know. Whew. I think this next movie is the blockbuster of the summer. Superman. Used to be Superman Legacy. I wish that they would title things so that you knew which one you're talking about if you're remaking them. The trailer for Superman dropped, I believe, 2 weeks ago. It's been a lot of conversation online, especially because of Henry Cavill and Zack Snyder fans versus James Gunn and David Cornsweet fans.
Cornsweet is just a really sad name, I will say that.
And then the hard part is that there is news that the test screenings for Superman were not that great, which was unfortunate. But that's also like, take it with a grain of salt. You can't really say anything when you've come out of test screening, but things get out. So we'll see. I think the trailer got me hyped. Zach is really looking forward to talking about it in a special Superman episode coming to you very soon. And I think it's going to make money because it's this kickoff to the DCU. The technically Creature Commandos is the first of James Gunn's production to be released on Max. Nobody's watching that. And technically Blue Beetle and Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad are all being retconned into the DCU. But truly, Superman is the kickoff to it. And I would say it's a family film where you could, like, it's not the Suicide Squad or Peacemaker or something. And
I've even heard good things about Creature Commando, which is interesting because I didn't really have a lot of expectations for it. But I think if they can keep doing that, where it's like, I haven't heard about that, or they do better than you think they would, and they just keep on producing some good stuff. I think this will be really good. I think this has a potential to be the new MC, which is what they're going for. But it's all, again, it's going to depend on if you can consistently produce good quality films that are also interconnected to each other, but not maybe, So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good blockbuster. I'm kind of optimistic towards it. I think it'll do pretty well. And I'd like it to be a bit more, you kind of mentioned like family friendly in the sense that like the first one was like the first Superman Man of Steel was very Snyder, very dark, gritty, and it wasn't like all of that, but it was just, I think that
gritty. Sorry.
But I think that I really think that I hope that this can be kind of a return to form where you can present the Superman who is the good guy, who is, an example of hope. And that seems to be what we're getting from this film. So those all good signs. But again, you could always be disappointed, but it looks like a good start.
I think I have a bold prediction. I have those every once in a while. I think Superman will be $1 billion movie. I think Elio could be $1 billion movie because it's Disney Pixar. Those are the two I'm going with. Avatar has the potential only because it's Avatar, and both the other Avatars have made a crap ton of movie. but also this is the third one, and I think people are starting to get drained of the Avatar. We'll get to that in a second, but I think Superman and Elio are probably the $2 billion movies for 2025. And that's all I'm going off of is Superman is going to make waves. Elio is a family movie. That's it. The Fantastic Four First Steps, third Marvel movie for the year. Again, back to form, I guess. This takes place in an alternate universe in the 60s, I think. So I think they're going to set up the Fantastic Four, have them fight Galactus, introduce Doctor Doom, and then somehow transport them to 616 universe in a either end of the movie or post-credit scene. I still don't like the casting for him because I think they're just writing off the faces and names, but it's another Marvel movie and it's something that fans have been wanting for a while. It's Fantastic Four. So
yeah, I haven't heard too much about this, but I mean, pretty much I just say I hope it goes well. I don't really know too much about it. And
it's like somebody's leaving and you hope you drive safe.
You have a good life.
Yeah, have a good life.
Don't die.
Yep. Freakier Friday. Have you watched Freaky Friday?
Is this seriously a sequel?
Yep. Isn't Freaky Friday the one that I know I think is a remake?
That's the one where that's the one where it's the mom and the dad switch, or not the mom and the daughter switch, right?
That's Parent Trap. He already got that mixed up. Yeah, there's a 2003. I think there's an old one too.
So what's Freaky Friday?
Freaky Friday is Jamie Lee Curtis and
yeah, that's the one like where she switches places with her
and Lindsay
daughter.
Lohan. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I've never watched it.
I've seen it. I've seen it. It's funny. It's a good film. They don't need a sequel. They're making a sequel. I think it'll be just a thing that exists there. I think that's pretty much going to happen.
Yeah. Same with Tron Ares.
I didn't see Tron.
Tron was one of the first ones that used CGI in their movie, like legitimately.
I knew that.
And then the second one, Tron Legacy, is basically the same movie but with updated graphics. Don't know anything about it. Is that
I've actually heard that Tron Legacy is like actually like really good, like a really good film on its own.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it. I haven't watched Tron. I haven't watched Tron Legacy. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I know that there wasn't that much really of a cliffhanger per se with the third one, but you could do more. So maybe they'll do something good with this one. Don't really know too much.
This is similar for me, like 28 Days Later was, where I kind of want to watch the old ones so that I can watch this one. In the 3D animation community, Tron is known for like it's Toy Story. So Toy Story, they started making stuff. They're like, this all looks like plastic. Well, then let's make a movie about plastic main characters. Like that makes sense. Tron takes place in a computer, and so they made, because all their technology or all of their visual graphics look like computer, so they did that. And then Legacy was a better remake with better graphics. I'm curious where Ares goes, but again, I have I know nothing about the actual movie storyline, so I need to get caught up. Now You See Me 3, so excited for this one.
They're doing more with that. Oh goodness gracious!
Oh no, it's only 3. 3 is a good number.
Yeah, 3's solid.
Okay, that's true. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but
okay.
Number 2 is my favorite. We need to watch number 2.
Mm-hmm.
But
your list is growing. You got like 50 movies on there in this episode alone that you want to go watch.
Yep. Well, Now You See Me 3. All of the cast is just so charming. It's really a dumb fun movie. This will definitely be nominated for Stupid Fun Movie. Again, we're starting the new thing of awards for our year-end episode, but it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be just magicians and heists, and I really like the first 2, even though they don't do anything dramatic. Mm-hmm. It's just really cool to watch.
Well, I think I would argue that it's all dramatic. Like that's the whole point. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
I love stupid fun action just because they don't take themselves seriously and they're not supposed to.
Yep.
And it's fun.
Yep. That's the essence.
Like Fast and Furious.
That's the essence of Now You See Me. Mm-hmm. And apparently, like everyone's coming back for the third one. There's too many people to list, but they were kind of split for the second one. One of the ladies was pregnant. Someone didn't want to come back, and now they're all one big happy family.
Gang back together.
Yeah. Wicked for Good, not Wicked Part 2. I'm assuming people have been arguing that it's not Wicked Part 1. It's just Wicked and Wicked for Good.
They put Part 1 in the title. They put Part 1 in the opening title scene. It said Wicked Part 1.
Yeah. So the naming scheme is weird. I know where the end of the movie goes. Annika talked about how she's like, somebody has all of the finale songs on an MP3 somewhere in some computer because the movie's already done. Again, I think with how successful Wicked was this year, Wicked for Good is going to be another possibly $1 billion. It almost broke $1 billion in 2024. Obviously the first movie. I think part 2 will do the same. And again, it needs a runtime in the theaters. If Wicked had been released earlier in the year, I'm sure it would have broken $1 billion. Wicked for Good being released in November again still has that potential, but is crushed between those last 2 months of the year.
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to sound really good.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had never seen the musical. I don't know the whole storyline of the musical, so I'm excited to see it and hopefully don't get spoilers. I know the musical's been out for like a really long time, but because it's never been spoiled for me yet, I want to see the movie and know what happens.
This is like
obviously she becomes the Wicked Witch. Like,
what?
But
spoiler warning: she dies via water.
well, yeah.
Yeah, this is like your end game now.
Yeah.
It's like, don't spoil anything. Like, I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Wicked. I just don't like it. I just don't care. Like, it's a musical and it's about the Wicked Witch of the West, and I don't really care about the musical. I don't really care about the movie, and I don't really care about the sequel. I mean, sure, do good, great. That's a great job. Good for you.
Just the second part.
Now I'm just gonna hear a lot. Now I'm just gonna hear a lot of like white women screaming the musical songs on the internet after this is gonna be done, because it's already happening. Like, my Spotify release radar has like 3 Wicked musicals from singers, and it's just like, oh boy.
Yeah. It's not a sequel. It's the second part of the story, and again, we talked about it in the Wicked. Next up, David from Angel Studios. There's a short that was released with The Forge, right?
I don't know.
I think it was with The Forge that there was a short about David, and they've been promoting.
It was cute.
They've been promoting this for a long time. Angel Studios is all about crowdfunding and stuff like that, so it's finally coming out. I think it's going to be a great kids movie, and obviously it's about David, the King David,
as a kid,
and it will just be, I think, a higher production than what we've seen in previous animations from Christian studios. Sometimes they fall flat, and I think this one's going to soar.
You think it's going to like climax with the David and Goliath story?
I don't know.
Okay.
The David story is one that has so many different arcs and different.
But it starts with. I mean, I'm assuming it's focusing on him as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to try and keep it when he's younger, because it's easier, it's more relatable. He's a kid, and 2, because, well, I mean, after we become kings, there's like a couple of instances where it's like, well, he killed the one guy, took his wife, and then there's a family infighting, and then his son tried to launch a coup, and like there's that other incident. So I think they're probably going to keep it more.
Just read the book.
It's like Prince of Egypt, where you just kind of have the big story. There's couple iffy stories later, and so you just kind of end it right after the big story.
Yeah. So, although, just to briefly push another thing, did you see the trailer for The Light of the World, The King of the World?
That one was interesting.
I think it's the 2D animated one where it's about Jesus. I haven't seen too much about it, but I've seen it. Again, I don't know too much, but I hope that's another one that does really well, or at least does a good job at the very least of presenting. I'm not sure what they're going to focus on exactly, but I think that's another one that has potential to be not as good as as Prince of Egypt, but kind of like that style where it's actually a good film. It's got good animation. It's got a good story.
Yeah, I like the look of Light of the World. Again, the production for Christian movies is going higher, possibly because of, like I said in previous movies, because I have a degree in animation, or previous episodes, is that the bar for entry for these types of things is going down significantly. Blender, and I guess you could even do this in Blender, like 2D animation. It's just, you just need to understand the basics, and you'll take off. You'll get tutorials. You'll get some people to help you, and it's really easy to make it look good now. Whereas I don't think that was the case in the early 2000s, and that's why we got really, really basic, not extremely good-looking animation and kids shows.
VeggieTales.
VeggieTales was actually ahead of its time.
It was.
I'm thinking of like the Bible story,
the Bible. There's like the animated Bible stories. There's a lot of those.
The one where they're all the characters of the Bible are under a tree. That's kind of their logo. I don't know.
Oh, is like the children's Bible?
Yeah.
That? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. They had shorts of those. Last couple movies for the year. Zootopia 2.
Another sequel.
Never seen Zootopia.
It's all right.
Yep. Okay.
It might be cute.
I have. That just started. It just made so many more furries, so I don't like that. I'm not going to like that because it's going to make more furries. But besides that, Let's just say that on like some of the website, let's just say that it's a Battlefield on some of the websites that I use for art because there's so many.
Yep. All right, and continuing on. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. There's been so many games. I do think that the story technically has more places to go. I would love to see Markiplier have a hand in this because he's the king of FNAF.
Bring Matt back just for this.
He didn't get to be in the first one. Matt Pat was in the first one. It's.
I'm sure make a sequel to it.
They need to actually make the animatronics evil because it just kind of were misunderstood villains in the first one, and you just laughed at the whole thing.
It was so goofy. It was not scary at all. I mean, I always thought that the game was stupid, but my friends were always playing, or not even friends, just my classmates were always playing the game. I could not take it seriously. I was giggling the whole time, and everyone else was like, Seth just kept looking at me. He's like, stop. But I think it'll be fun.
I've never played it. I like watching content creators play it. That's all. Avatar, Fire and Ash. This one, I believe, will be delayed. Avatar is so big, and because Way of Water took so long, and even the first one took so long, I doubt that they're going to get a third movie in, 3 years? You and I talked about it, so it's 2 years. It was one of our probably 9th episode, I think.
It was one of the first ones because I recorded it at your house because we had watched it, and then we talked about the first Avatar movie and the second Avatar movie.
Yeah. So it was an early episode of ours. I don't know. Water was the step that they needed to show off the CGI. That's all Avatar is. It's showing off CGI. The story kind of falters. I actually really like the story of the second one, and it's supposed to be grand. It's going to be grand. I guarantee that. Probably not compelling for a story, but I'm excited to see it. And it's probably going to explore the lore of Avatar, the world, a lot more. So
I've got a couple of like itches that I want Avatar to scratch in regards to like what they're trying to tell. It's a bit of a weird metaphor, but like there's a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of cool stuff I think they can do. They've already explored that. I'm excited for the fire Na'vi / evil Na'vi / whatever they're going to go for with that. Don't know what's going to happen there, but I think that's an interesting thing you can do. They brought Quaritch back to some way. And that's interesting as well. And I know, I think it's probably going to be I think it's going to be cliche. I think you're going to, I've seen this before, but even still I think it's going to look great. I hope it's going to be like super, at the very least, super cool. And I'd like there to be a bit more substance for me to chew on in regards to the story and the world and what they're trying to tell.
Yeah. Hey, don't look up Avatar Fire and Ash trailer on YouTube because there's a bunch of AI creations. There hasn't even been a lot announced yet. I think this one's real, the Ash people. But yeah, another faction. Sure.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
We'll see what happens with it.
And that's for December. That's late in December. I think that would be a post-Christmas or right before Christmas.
Probably most of them will release around Christmas so that people, like a lot of people do Christmas movies.
I'm pretty sure Avatar was a Christmas movie, when it first released.
It was around there.
Yeah. December 18th.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
That's it for movies, at least notable movies. There's obviously others that some people are like, you didn't talk about this. I'm like, well, I wasn't interested in that. And I probably still won't see it. And
you guys can talk about it on the Discord if you really care about it.
Yeah. Actually, yes, please do. The TV shows that are coming out. Actually, again, we forget about TV shows. In the awards show, we completely forgot to talk about Arcane, one of the best TV.
I was actually surprised by that. I was like, wow, where's the Arcane Seth?
Arcane is in its own category, like Madam Web, but on the other end.
Yeah, but it's because I took all of the movies from 2024 and listed them and completely forgot about TV shows. Not that I watched a lot of TV shows, but we could probably have a best TV shows category in the future. Yeah. Obviously, Arcane would have won that for 2024. But as we look ahead for Daredevil, technically, yes, for TV shows in 2025, Daredevil Born Again, it's going to be so good as far as I can tell.
Watch him be disappointed.
We just started season 3 of the Netflix show, and now we'll be done right in time to watch Born Again. You are excited? You've gotten hooked?
I am obsessed now.
I bet. Oh, you know what? Oh, goodness. I was going to say Daredevil Born Again was going to be the number one TV show for the year, but I'm looking at the others. And obviously there's more TV shows in this. Andor season 2 and possibly Stranger Things season 5. This is going to be a banger year for TV shows. I think these are going to be great. The Chosen is also going to have The Last Supper and season 5. Like they're the same thing, but they're marketing it on The Last Supper. We need to finish season 4. that's been ramping up in production. And then Zach and I talked about Marvel TV shows in their own episode a couple months ago. So go listen to that when we talk about what we assume of that. Not much news has come out about those. We got a trailer for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man this morning, and it looks meh. So that's the gist of that. I think the TV shows.
Which Spider-Man is it? Or is it
a new one? It's a new one.
Well, that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV show either, even more so because it's hard to. But again, hope it goes well. Looks good.
The TV shows are going to shine this year with those just 3 titles. Is going to be crazy. In wrapping up, looking at the entire year, there's less sequelitis and remakes than I thought. Slightly. But I think that more of the sequels in 2025 will shine, like Final Reckoning, like 28 Years Later. But there's plenty of single originals like Superman. Again, technically you can say it's an adaptation of a comic book. It's original. It's an original idea from the mind of Gunn. Love Hurts, a Minecraft movie, Mickey 17, Thunderbolts. Those are the original ones that stick out to me. F1. But also, I don't want to just discard all of the sequels. Like, yes, they're running off of the hype from their previous movies. They're going to be fine. It'll be okay. It's going to be fine. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why if you don't watch him, like, you can't be hurt by him, so.
That's why William never does his research.
No, it's called selective apathy. I just don't have to care.
True. So 2024 was the year of sequelitis. Not going to be the case with 2025.
Yeah. 2024 had a lot of big, bad films.
Yes.
It had like a lot of like super woke, just like blockbusters that weren't blockbusters. I don't think 2025 is going to be that bad. It's going to have your meh films. It's going to have your bad films. It's going to have your great films. But I think it's going to be better than this year in regards to film overall.
2024 was a meh year because there were a few good movies and some really bad ones that dragged down the average, if you would want to call it that. I would say that 2025 is a little bit above meh because there's still some, the sequels aren't the best franchises to be making sequels from. The original movies are like, I want to be excited, but they're not something like Endgame that we've seen before. So I'm excited. Not as excited as I was for previous years, but I'm ready to be proven wrong. I think I have my eye on Superman, How to Train Your Dragon, and probably Thunderbolts as my top 3. So that's what I got. I don't know if you guys want to take top 3s or not.
No. If I make them, they'll flop. I don't want to.
It's really not that important to me. I think I'm always going to be surprised. I think there's going to the ones you've already mentioned are probably going to be really good, and then they'll just be kind of films. I would also
in the past 2 years, the ones that we've expected, like the ones that we've loved the most, are ones we didn't expect.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for something to just pop up and blow our minds.
Like Twisters and Carry On were the ones that topped our charts last year.
Well, before that, it was Godzilla -1.
Godzilla -1 came out of the woodwork in 2023. The only one that I was expecting last year was Fall Guy. I think you're right in that we should expect the unexpected because there's some movie that either we didn't list or we don't even know about at this point that is going to be so good. So
yeah. I'd also just briefly cap this by just saying we don't really cover this, but video games. I'm not a super big video gamer, but I tend to have a bit of interest in that. Which is to say, it's been a good year for that as well, which I think is another sign. Like we've had Helldivers too, a lot of other good films, good video games that have come out, and there's been a lot of good video games that seem to be coming out as well. Like Witcher 4 was finally announced. That's some good signs. So I think it's a good sign overall for the next coming years.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, go buy your new merch because it's new, and I don't want my designing to go to waste, and I'm not making any money off it. So you don't have to be like, I don't want to give him money. I'm not getting any of it. Go at the very least, go get a sticker in the description.
If you want to give him money, his Venmo is that.
I promise you that you can go check the website that the stickers are super cheap, and it's switching the shipping from exorbitant amount to Printify, instead just paying for my postage and an envelope. So that's what that's for. $2 stickers down in the description. They'll come to you as soon as I start getting those forms in. And then, yeah, thank you for 100 episodes. I know that our fan base is still pretty small, but I hold it all close to my heart. And having a small community to be able to talk on Discord, and it's not like the real content creators Discords that are like, it's all just unreadable. I'm glad that we can still just have a back and forth on our Discord. So join that, get some merch, get a sticker at the very least, and until next week, know that you're loved. God bless.
Yep.
You guys are fun.
I want to thank everyone who's been sticking with us for the 100 episodes. I've enjoyed it being here at the start, and I am looking forward to the next 100 episodes. And we do it all for God's glory. So there you go.
Amen. I wonder if there's anyone who has listened to every single episode. I know you have not.
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Every single episode?
Yes, every time. Well, okay, every time it comes out, I listen to it. It comes out every Friday, so I listen to it. Most of the time, I'm either a lot of times I'm chopping ice for water. There we go.
Jesus.